Bad news tonight for the College of the North Atlantic. 7 programs are being suspended, 45 jobs are disappearing.
Yeah, this comes after last week's review revealed significant problems at the public college system. Here now's Terry Roberts has that story for us tonight.
It's yet another blow to rural Newfoundland and Labrador. 11 permanent positions gone, 10 of them outside of St. John's. And that's not all. 34 faculty on contract with the college will not be back in September. Their union is not happy.
We heard the minister say there'd be no mass layoffs with the budget, and then we heard the minister, Jerry Burns, say there'd be no widespread. I'm not sure what term you'd put on this when 45 people in our education system are now without jobs, and that affects families, that affects communities, and a major ripple-down effect.
The college says the numbers just weren't there to justify the program. These decisions, while difficult, are based on the best evidence that we have to determine the potential demand for graduates, their potential for employment, and the skills and trades that employers are indicating they need. Earl says he was surprised by the cuts. He thought the college might add jobs by taking back control of the now privatized adult basic education program. The program was cut in 2013, resulting in the loss of more than 100 jobs.
Tuition fees have increased drastically in the private sector where young people cannot afford to do these programs. So we applaud, Minister Byrne actually said last week there was a problem with the financial assessment that was done that moved it out. We would call on the minister, take a second look at moving the adult basic education back into the public system where it is affordable for young people.
Meanwhile, according to the college, the news today could have been worse. 5 programs that were scheduled for suspension will now be offered in September because of increased enrollment. Debbie?
That is our Here Now's Terry Roberts reporting tonight. So let's look at the breakdown. The construction and industrial electrician program in St. Anthony is gone, as is the process operations engineering technology program in Corner Brook. The industrial, mechanic and millwright program in Happy Valley Goose Bay is being cut, along with the distance learning health informatics program in Grand Falls, Windsor. And welding in Bayvert, cooking in Seal Cove, and chemical process engineering technology at the Ridge Road campus in St. John's are all cancelled.
Well, there was a powerful ceremony at a St. John's High School today. It honored a young man who took his own life and encouraged students to talk about mental health. The event was part of a countrywide campaign called Yellow is for Hello. Here now's Mark Quinn explains.
Lucas Fiorella had a 1,000-watt smile. His father says he appeared to be happy.
He was the kid next door that everybody loved.
But in 2014, when Lucas was 21 years old, he died by suicide. His father was completely blindsided.
They've chosen to leave you, and then there's the guilt that is just constantly nagging at you. What could I have done differently? What should I have done differently? Why didn't I see anything?
Some people might be destroyed by it, but Fiorella wants to talk about Lucas's death, even though some people told him to stop.
What are you doing? Don't talk about this in public. This is our dirty laundry. And I said, it's not a dirty laundry. Lucas was sick. My first reaction, my gut reaction, was to prevent this from happening to anybody else.
Over the last few years, Fiorella has talked at dozens of schools across the country. Today, hundreds of Gonzaga students came to listen to him talk about Lucas and mental health. Christy Earls was one of them.
Talk about what's bothering you and how you feel about your mental illness or your mental health. So it's just so important to keep that conversation going.
Fiorella donates a bright yellow bench to each school he visits. Sitting on the one he's given to Gonzaga, he wishes Lucas could see what's being done in his honor.
I'd probably ask for his forgiveness, first and foremost, for not knowing and for not seeing, for not listening maybe, if he did in fact try and say something that I never heard. That would be the first thing, and then I would ask that if he was proud, and I would say, I hope you are proud and that I love you.
Fiorella hopes that students like these will use the yellow benches to hang out and have fun, and maybe even help each other deal with depression or suicidal thoughts. Mark Quinn, CBC News, St. John's.
Well, the mayor of Deer Lake is apologizing for using town money to enter councillors and staff into a Liberal Party fundraiser. Part of the fee for the golf tournament is considered a donation to the party. Municipalities aren't allowed to make political donations. Dean Ball says $300 was refunded. He says it was an honest mistake. The mayor is the brother of Liberal leader Dwight Ball.
With the deadly drug fentanyl on the streets of St. John's, some, including a pharmacist, are saying more can be done to get the message out about the dangers of the drug. Here now's Ariana Kelland reports.
Fentanyl is here and people say education is key. That's why this group has hit the streets to get people talking. A sunny day spent talking about a deadly drug. This group answered questions about the painkiller that's claimed 2 lives here over the last month. What is fentanyl? How did it get here? And what can we do about it?
It's very clear to me, at least, that, we're sort of, this wave is cresting, and before it, if and when it crashes, it's, another 24 bodies are going to wash up, and before that happens, I could not live with myself if I didn't do something.
There have been 17 confirmed overdoses in several weeks.
If that's not like a screaming beacon of something is awry, I don't know what is.
Some pharmacists feel they can do more, but haven't been given the resources.
Our group feels that pharmacies should be providing this service, and pharmacists are more than qualified to dispense, consult with patients, and do the injection training.
Francis, like many other pharmacists, have these commercial naloxone kits for sale. They retail for about $60. She'd like to see free kits in all pharmacies with a subsidy, a model similar to that in Ontario.
There are pharmacies in mostly every community in Newfoundland and Labrador. Pharmacies are the best network for frontline healthcare related issues.
The topic of naloxone hit the House of Assembly this week. The health minister says the province is prepared, and while kits aren't at all pharmacies, they're not hard to find. Residents can call the 811 health line to find out where to get the nearest life-saving kit.
First responders and the availability of those naloxone kits has actually saved 14 lives in 2 weeks.
Meanwhile, the health department says representatives from the Pharmacists Association and the Pharmacy Board have joined the naloxone take-home kit working group. They're meeting next week, and the department says independent pharmacists are welcome to join. Ariana Kelland, CBC News, St. John's.
A frightening scene unfolded in the east end of St. John's just a few hours ago. This Honda Civic was driving east on Elizabeth Avenue when it struck another car that was pulling out of the Lawton Scruggs parking lot. The Civic went up over the curb and crashed onto other vehicles in the parking lot, and all 4 vehicles were damaged. Police say miraculously no one was hurt. Ocean Choice International is now 100% locally owned and operated with Newfoundlanders Blaine and Martin Sullivan at the helm. The brothers bought out Icelandic company Landvis Canada, which had a 49% stake in the seafood company. The business relationship soured when Landvis alleged OCI was being mismanaged and filed a lawsuit in 2015 to gain control of the company. The Sullivans say that relationship is now behind them, and Ocean Choice will invest in plants and equipment to get ready for a resurgence of the ground fishery.
Well, a man from St. Bride's has been sentenced to 4 years for a vicious attack on his brother. It happened in the community 2 years ago. Eugene Foley slashed and stabbed his brother. Here and Now's Glenn Payette reports.
Evidence at trial showed that Eugene Foley and his brother Glenn had a dysfunctional relationship. They fought many times, with Glenn, the bigger of the two, coming out the winner. But in January of 2015, Eugene stepped things up. In sentencing Eugene, Justice Garrett Handrigan wrote, "The Foley brothers have a long history of strife, but this was the first time, to Glenn's horror and surprise, that Eugene ever used a knife." Handrigan said, "Glenn Foley nearly died from the assault. He bled profusely from several of the wounds that went deep inside his body." Foley attacked Glenn outside of Glenn's home in St. Bride's. Glenn Foley needed plastic surgery to repair the slashes to his face. Handrigan said the range for aggravated assault is 2 to 6 years. He said he settled on 4 years because of Eugene Foley's lack of remorse, his previous criminal record, the impact on Glenn Foley and his family, and Eugene Foley's willingness to deflect blame from himself. In a victim impact statement, Glenn Foley said, "Upon my returning home from hospital, our daughter was too scared to return home immediately. I fear how our children will react once they see the offender upon his return to our community." Handrigan also sentenced Foley to 4 months for driving while disqualified and 2 months for a breach of probation. With credit for time served, Foley has 3 years and 4 months left. Handrigan said he hopes Foley can rehabilitate himself, but he also said he's skeptical of that because of Foley's tendency to minimize his wrongdoings and to blame others for his problems. Glenn Payette, CBC News, St. John's.
Sobeys is looking to save $500 million in costs in 3 years. The chain has been struggling since taking over Safeway 4 years ago. Empire Company Limited, which owns Sobeys, says it wants to make it a leaner organization. The corporation says no workers at grocery stores or distribution centers will be affected in this province. Well, the Minister of Municipal Affairs says the province can't afford to keep towns running. Eddie Joyce made the comments today in Gander while answering questions about a community near Clarenville that will vote this month on becoming a town. Here now's Chris Ensing has more.
This community could be the province's newest town. Georges Brook Milton, a local service district, votes this month on becoming a municipality. It would be number 277 in a province with obvious financial struggles.
We just can't afford to keep our towns open.
Towns get more provincial and federal money. Local service districts like Georges Brook Milton don't get any. If the community votes to become a town, Joyce would have final approval.
Before I make any decision on what should happen, I better wait for both the places to make their decision.
Joyce didn't commit to the town option, but was vocal about regionalization. A study looked at that option for this community and said the province wasn't ready yet. Joyce announced a cross-province consultation on regionalization today.
When you got one town 5 kilometers away, 2 town halls, 2 fire departments, 2 tractors, 2 municipal buildings, what they're saying, we should regionalize, provide the services we can out of necessity. It's going to happen. It's just a matter if we're going to do it now and do it in a nice, uniform way.
Georges Brook Milton could become the province's newest town this month, but it could one day soon be part of a regional government. Chris Ensing, CBC News, Gander.
A local hotel owner here in Happy Valley Goose Bay says the federal government should have done more to tell him about contamination coming from a nearby army base. And after 10 years in court, the Supreme Court agrees. That's coming up on Here and Now.
Want to make better movers.
People who teach and study physical education are in St. John's to try and figure out ways to get kids more active. We'll hear some suggestions later on.
This weather update is brought to you by the Take Charge Business Efficiency Program. Over 400 businesses have saved energy and taken charge of their bottom line. Find out how you can too.
Almost time for the weather, but we did have some visitors. They were coming through our station today, and you got to show off some of your toys.
Yeah, Ryan's got all the best toys.
It's true. It's true. Although I was showing off your teleprompter as well. But yeah, the weather wall is pretty cool for sure. Have a look. Here is the students from Triton and cadets. In fact, a group of cadets from Triton dropped off for a tour today. All ages, and yeah, they of course wanted to check out the green screen in the studio. They've got a busy weekend, this group. 6-hour bus ride to get here. Wow. But the CBC tour today, and then tomorrow they're going to be going to Cougar Helicopters for a tour. They're going to go up to Signal Hill. They've got, there's the green screen and our very own Katie upstairs that is in communications. She was showing off the green wall there as well. And Katie Rowe, and so they've got dinner and a movie tomorrow as well, and then Sunday they're going to be in the Battle of the Atlantic Parade, and then they're back to Triton. So a busy weekend.
Wow. I'm glad to know, I think, that the weather is supposed to be pretty good.
Absolutely. Nice and bright. We will have to watch for some sea breezes this weekend along the coast. If you are right along the coast, it's definitely going to be a little on the cool side, but I think we'll take the sunshine, especially given the fact that we have the RDF looming in the long range, and so we'll soak up as much vitamin D as we can in these spring months, and we know we'll get those bouts of RDF, and this week is no exception. Have a look at highs today. We did get to 15 in Corner Brook, 14 in Deer Lake, 13 in Badger, and 12 in Terra Nova Gander, 10 officially at the St. John's Airport, and I think we'll be in the double-digit range for inland areas for tomorrow across the metro region. Not ruling it out, places like the Goulds, perhaps Mount Pearl, if those winds ease off a little lighter, and if you're on the side of your house where you're shielded from that northerly wind, you'll most definitely be feeling the double-digit temps. It is the next system that's going to be rolling in will be building some clouds into the region, but this area of high pressure holding on strong for eastern and central parts of Newfoundland through your Saturday. And note the cloud cover that's trying to build in, but really won't make any headway. Some high clouds moving in from time to time, but I think the area of high pressure will sink those clouds and clear the air quite nicely for the Avalon, the northeast coast, and up even towards the coast of Labrador for much of the day, then the building clouds into the afternoon. Note the shower chances for the west coast. We'll get into that in a little more detail in a minute, and that, yes, snow rolling into Labrador, but it is a mix over to some periods of rain for your Sunday. And Sunday, yes, still some sun and cloud doing battle with another chance of some showers for the west coast. We'll talk more about Sunday coming up. A chance of a shower by Saturday morning, more like drizzle for the Port aux Basques region. Everywhere else is pretty fine. Looking at some snow, though, rolling into Lab West and as much as 5 centimeters by tomorrow morning. Here's a look at your 7 to 7. -1 to start in St. John's. Yes, just 6 degrees, I think, near the airport, the east end. You work your way inland. The further away from that northerly flow you get, the warmer you are going to be. And 8 to 10 degrees, I think, for inland areas of the metro region for tomorrow. But certainly in those northerly onshore winds, places like Carbonear, Bay Roberts, St. John's proper, down towards the southern shore, 6 degrees is about it. Get away from that northerly wind. We're going to be talking about some double-digit potentials here for sure. Out of the onshore winds on the Burin, could get as warm as 12 degrees tomorrow. For central Newfoundland, again, cool, 5, 6, 7 degrees from Bonavista Bay up towards the Bay of Exploits. Inland areas, though, from Terra Nova through central, 10 to 12 degrees. A bit of cloud cover into the Bay Vert region, but I think dry here. Unfortunately, in this setup, for sure, one of the dampest places all weekend in the province will be Port aux Basques across to even the Burgeo region. The clouds will dominate here. Onshore wind 6 degrees. We do have a wreck house wind warning in effect for tomorrow with gusts there upwards of 100, ramping up mainly late day. Stephenville, Corner Brook, Humber Valley, some sun breaks, but a pretty good chance of some scattered showers here as well. The Northern Peninsula into southeastern Labrador. Note the clouds build up a little bit here into the afternoon. 3 to 5 degrees with east-northeasterly winds. The coast of Labrador tomorrow, pretty nice along that north coast with some sun and cloud. Temperatures near the freezing mark or just below with onshore winds. There's the snow building into Lab West, but I do think we're over to some rain into the later parts of the day. Again, 2 to 5 centimeters, 4 degrees on the plus side, chance of a late day shower in Happy Valley Goose Bay. Sunday details and beyond coming up. Peter?
Well, to Labrador now. That's where a hotel owner is celebrating a victory after a 10-year court battle with the Government of Canada. Lloyd Hillier claimed Five Wing Goose Bay knew there was contamination in and around his property, but neglected to tell him about it. Now the court has sided with him and awarded a substantial amount of money. Here now's Jacob Barker joins us more with that story. Jacob?
Well, Peter, this whole thing has been about what is beneath me in the ground here, aviation fuel. The Supreme Court now says that the Government of Canada should have told the business owner that there was contamination on his property and moved quickly to clean it up.
I have a degree in CFS, Common Friggin' Sense. The base boundary is only 100 meters away from me, and our sand is very porous. And the problem they had over there was a lot of oil. And the oil was weeping under my property.
Hillier won his case against the federal government this week. He was awarded $880,000 for the effect the environmental damage has had on his property value, and he's also going to get the cost of the researcher he hired to prove his case back, over $2 million. His fight, he says, was for the whole town.
Goose Bay is one of the worst contaminated sites in Canada. In Canada. Clean it up. If this was downtown Toronto, it would be cleaned up. It's right here.
In 2004, Hillier allowed National Defence to drill a test well on his property, but when he couldn't get the results, he hired his own researcher, eventually launching the lawsuit.
The failure to disclose. They knew, but they didn't tell us. They didn't tell the town.
Hillier says he never would have built his hotel here if he'd known the extent of the problem. There could be between 2 and 3 million liters of aviation fuel in the ground over an area of 9 hectares in this area. The Department of National Defense says the spills happened in the 1950s and 60s under the control of the American Air Force. Recently, over $70 million was spent on remediation all over Happy Valley Goose Bay, but Hillier contests that.
And they have never cleaned nothing up. All they're doing is monitoring.
Hillier says this victory sets a precedent, and he hopes others affected by contamination will launch their own court challenges.
Our water supply is at stake here. Canada inherited the mess. It's their inheritance. If it was my inheritance, I would have to clean it up. So Canada, do justice to the people of Happy Valley Goose Bay.
Now, the Department of National Defense did not say that if it is going to appeal the decision, but it did say it is committed to cleaning up the contamination. Reporting live for Here and Now in Happy Valley Goose Bay, I'm Jacob Barker.
Well, this bright yellow bench is now set up. There you see it in a high school in St. John's, and it's meant to symbolize a safe spot for people dealing with mental health problems.
After the break, we'll hear more from a father and his emotional story about why he came up with the idea.
Welcome back to Here and Now. If you walk into Gonzaga High School, you'll notice a new yellow bench. It's part of a national campaign to get students talking about mental health. The friendship benches come from Sam Fiorella, whose son killed himself. He shared his story with our Mark Quinn.
What happened, Lucas? Well, ultimately what happened is he took his life after a long and silent battle with depression. Nobody really had any clue that he was suffering until after his death. You know, we read some of the notes that he left us, and he was in fact suffering from his early days in high school.
And I wonder if you could take us back to that time. I know it's probably difficult, but what was it like for you? What impact did it have on you when he died?
His death completely changed my life, as it would for any parent. The loss of a child is the worst thing that anybody can go through, but the loss of a child to suicide is particularly harsh because not only do you suffer the loss of that child, there's an additional trauma that comes because they've chosen to leave you. And then there's the guilt that is just constantly nagging at you. What could I have done differently? What should I have done differently? Why didn't I see anything? And it's taken a number of years of counseling and therapy and the support of some really good friends to sort of put my head back on straight. The yellow bench is really a symbol of what we do as an organization. The bench was chosen as that symbol because it represents people sitting down and talking to each other. And that's really the core of what this is about. It's not about coming to sit here if you have a problem or you're looking for a friend, like the buddy benches that have become popular in elementary schools. This is really a call to action to students in secondary and post-secondary schools across this country that they need to talk to each other. And only by students talking to students through that peer-to-peer connection will they actually make it okay for each other to ask for help from a parent or from a faculty member or a counselor. Frankly, I'm shocked at how well the students have responded to this. This started as a test. In the first 2 years, I expected maybe 3 or 4 benches as a beta. You know, we're over 30 now, and I've got another 60 requests coming in. You know, every day I get more and more requests. And it's the students who are asking for it. The students wanted it to be yellow. They were the ones who chose the color. They wanted it to be bright. They're owning this. I'm getting calls from university counselors saying, I just did an orientation and the new students are asking, are we getting a yellow bench at this university? So they're the ones who have completely embraced it because they're losing their friends. We don't want to talk about it maybe as parents and as a society, but the kids are talking about it and they're fed up. They don't want to lose another friend. They want to do something about it. I'd probably ask for his forgiveness, first and foremost, for not knowing and for not seeing, for not listening maybe, if he did in fact try and say something that I never heard. That would be the first thing, and then I would ask that if he was proud, and I would say, I hope you are proud and that I love you.
This is, you're healing too.
This process started right after his death. Within days of Lucas's death, we started to hear these stories, and they came fast and furious thereafter. And so this entire campaign was born in the days after his death. And it's been nonstop ever since. It took on a life of its own. The kids embraced it, the schools have embraced it. And so, yes, for me, this is therapy. This is me staying connected to Lucas. Every day I get to talk about what a wonderful man he was. I never got the chance to tell him how much of a hero he was to me. Clearly he was a hero to his friends, and I'm hoping that by doing this I can tell him wherever he is that he is in fact my hero.
Welcome back. Well, more than 500 phys ed teachers, researchers, and academics have descended on St. John's for a national conference. The Physical and Health Education Conference is called Rock Solid Foundations, Energizing Futures, and is teaching the teachers how to promote the overall wellness of each and every child.
This kicks the bejeebies out of a wall squat. This is a human movement. A wall squat's good in a physio.
It doesn't look like your regular phys ed teaching of old. Things have changed, and today these teachers from across the province and the country are trying out some different activities, ones they can adapt to their schools no matter how big or small. It's a new way of thinking about how to get kids moving now and into the future. Now, Zoe Hamilton is a phys ed teacher in Carbonear and co-chair of this conference. Brian Story is president of Physical Health Education Canada. Thank you very much for having this chat with me. Lots of activity here in the field house. Zoe, as a phys ed teacher, when you look at these activities, what do you think about, are they adaptable to like a school that you would teach in Carbonear?
Absolutely. All the presenters here today have their activities sorted out so that if you have a large gymnasium or a smaller space, green space, or if you have to go to the library to teach a class on a certain day when the gym is being used for something else, then we can take most of these activities and just put it into a different place, just as we can adapt them for the kids and the any special needs that are in our classes.
So Brian, are you seeing much adaptability and creativity creeping into the physical education courses that you see across the country?
I am seeing that a lot. I think if you went back 2 decades, you'd see a lot of traditional sports in physical education. And I think nowadays there's been a big shift towards including everyone, not just athletes in physical education programs. I think in primary it's always been a play-based kind of approach to physical education. But when we got into upper intermediates and high school, sport curriculum would often take over, and those who enjoyed it most were simply those who were good at it. But now,
so you're talking about your basketball players, your volleyball players, traditional sports.
That's true, and I think across the country we're seeing a movement to say that's great that they're good at that, but physical education is a right for everyone, and we want all kids in high schools to feel competent, regardless of whether or not they're the star athlete or not. And I think these teachers here, when they take a workshop like the one we see behind us, they take back a new skill set that's not just specifically sport related.
What are the challenges on a daily basis for a phys ed teacher?
The time. I mean, we have our phys ed curriculum across the province of Newfoundland and Labrador, and it includes a lot of different activities in sport and foundational skills that we try to teach our children so they can live healthy, happy lives. But having the time to deliver that curriculum is often a challenge when things are, other things are taking up your gymnasium space, or the schedules cannot accommodate the amount of time that's needed for kids to be involved in the activities. The resources, we're very adaptable as phys ed teachers, and we can make a lot of things work on a very little equipment if we have to, which is not always the best, but we can make that happen. But it's a time. Kids need to move every day.
What are the goals that your organization has for physical education and the spin-off that goes with that, mental health wellness?
We really advocate for 2 literacies. One is physical literacy, which involves all the movement competence and the confidence and the motivation to move for life and to stay engaged in and out of school with physical activity. But then there's the health literacy that you mentioned. But even in health literacy, if you take mental health, a primary preventative measure is physical activity and nutrition. So we advocate for a holistic view of child health and physical education, and in that includes all the domains, mental, social, physical, but a primary driver behind all of that is the levels of physical activity a child attains on a weekly basis.
How do you get the focus back on the need for physical activity? What message would you have to the powers that be that this is important, and why?
Well, we're looking at our health crisis in the province, and if we want that to be affected, we need to put our time and energy into our students, into our schools, because that's where the majority of our kids are. We as teachers affect their lives every day, and as a school community and as communities in large and as a whole province, if we engage our students, teach them the foundational skills that they are needed to be active later on in life so they can make choices for themselves in what they enjoy, they will make those choices and become healthier, and then I think we can look forward to a healthier population in general.
Well, depending on who you talk to, they can be therapeutic or an annoyance. Either way, fidget toys are a hit, spinning their way into classrooms and annoying teachers along the way. As our health reporter Vicadopia tells us, their therapeutic value is questionable.
They're hypnotic and fun for fidgety young hands.
You can spin it with one hand or you spin it with two, and then there's tricks you can do with it. Go like this and wiggle it so it makes more noise.
It's not hard to figure out why fidget spin toys are all the rage, but they're leaving some teachers' heads spinning.
There's a kid in my class, and he was going like this and waving it, and the teacher took it away. And then that day, she was not the supply teacher, the EA, and she got like 7 of them that day.
Now, as I watch all the kids playing with them, I can see how they would be a distraction, for sure. I think they're a little ridiculous.
A distraction to calm the mind. The ads say fidget toys can help with anxiety, ADHD, even autism.
Sometimes it helps them with their breathing and relaxing. It's a little bit different for every child.
This autism group sells various fidget toys at its store. The executive director says educators may be prematurely dismissing their usefulness.
We teach them how to use it properly. We teach them how to use that as a tool for learning.
Still, there's no science backing the claims for spinners specifically.
I wouldn't recommend this kind of object.
This clinical psychologist says spinners fail as tools because therapeutic toys require physical movement, like squeezing. Spinners don't, and any fidget toy shouldn't be used in class willy-nilly.
It really should become developed with a care team. So someone should have recommended it because they feel like it's going to be helpful for that individual.
1, 2, 3.
The lack of science isn't hurting the popularity of spinners. Some stores have sold out until the next thing comes along. Vicadopia, CBC News, Toronto.
The weather update is brought to you by Belltone Hearing Service St. John's, helping the world hear better.
I can attest that they are very popular. When I was reading to the grade 4 class yesterday,
Gullies?
Yep, at Upper Gullies and CBS, there were quite a few kids who had those on the go. So yeah, no, it's.
Can I have one? Can I have one? Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Well, it's like what Pongs were back in our day, Ryan.
Nobody's going to know what that means.
I know, I'm dating myself here.
Yeah.
But Vic's line, they're popular until the next thing comes along. We all know that's true.
Yeah, definitely.
What's the next thing to come along for the weather?
Oh, nice segue, Peter. Have a look at highs today across Atlantic Canada. 10 in St. John's. Now, you'll note the temperatures are warmer across the Maritimes, but you're not going to want to be in the Maritimes this weekend. Labrador getting into some of that unsettled weather, as is the West Coast, with a chance of seeing some of those scattered showers, but a very, very wet weekend setting up from New Brunswick up through the Bay of Fundy, edging into parts of Nova Scotia as well. But central New Brunswick talking about over 100 millimeters possibly there for southwestern New Brunswick up into the interior. So a very, very wet weekend for those folks. Clouds increase across the island as we move into Saturday morning, but note that cloud really not making much headway as it moves into the eastern half of the island. That is thanks to that area of high pressure that will be keeping things nice and bright for the most part. Just some cloud thickening up from time to time, but overall the high pressure will win out the day. For Labrador, again, we are looking at that snow mixing over to rain slowly but surely. It's 6 in onshore winds. It's as warm as 8 to 10 degrees out of those onshore winds. And we should get to 12 degrees to as warm as 13. Grand Falls, Windsor towards the Humber Valley, back towards Corner Brook tomorrow. Again, a wreck house wind warning in effect for from Saturday afternoon as those winds really ramp up through Saturday night and into Sunday as well, with a long duration wind event setting up there. So if you are traveling, keep that in mind. There's the snow mixing to rain for western parts of Labrador. The late day showers will push into Happy Valley Goose Bay, and this system will then be rolling in for Saturday night and in through Sunday across the rest of Labrador with periods of rain. It's going to be a wet one for Sunday. Now, for Sunday on the island, I still think we're looking at some sunny breaks. The clouds a little bit more dominant at times for central and eastern parts of Newfoundland. I think we'll still see a scattered possibility of some sunshine, but again, a scattered shower for Corner Brook down towards the Bay St. George region, up towards Grossmore as well. It's that southwest coast that will stay socked in with the clouds and the onshore drizzle there. So just 6 degrees. Talking about 15, 16, even 17 degrees in Grand Falls, Windsor. I think temperatures in Metro on Sunday range from 8 to as warm as 12 degrees. Again, a little bit cooler right along the coast, but winds will be quite light and variable. So a typical sea breeze setup here for Metro. 8 to 9 degrees for inland parts of Labrador with those periods of rain. And as we roll into the Monday time period, again, thanks to that blocking high, this rain will really not work its way eastward. It actually starts to retrograde back to the west. So more wet weather for the Maritimes here across the island. Again, bit of an onshore wind, so 8 to 10 degrees in Metro, 15 with some sunny breaks in Central. Scattered showers from western Labrador up to western Newfoundland up to western Labrador. And Happy Valley Goose Bay should actually see some clearing as that system retrogrades. And there's the setup for next week. Blocking high, the winds not in a favorable direction. Dominant onshore winds with a cool RDF setup. And so Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, that's Capeland weather, except it's not June yet. And so typical, yeah. So it's inevitable. We'll see a couple of rounds of this, and we're certainly getting one out of the way. At least we hope so right now.
Let's turn our attention to something that's always special. Our athlete of the day, this is 4-year-old Isabel Nyberg. She is from Clarenville, where she plays hockey with the Clarenville Caribou.
Yeah, this is her first year playing, and she's still waiting to score that first goal, but it doesn't matter if she does or not. She's already got a big fan, her little brother, Meyer.
Fantastic. Keep having fun, Isabel. You are today's young athlete of the day.
Welcome back to Here and Now and to Toronto, where there's a flood warning in effect tonight, and there are concerns that the Don River could overrun its banks. If the Don River overflows, it would have the potential to threaten the commutes for tens of thousands of highway drivers and GO Transit passengers. The Don Valley Parkway and the commuter rail lines are mere meters away. There have also been at least 170 flights canceled at Pearson International Airport. The rain started yesterday, and it's expected to continue throughout the weekend.
The woman who was stranded on Canada's highest mountain is resting safely and awaiting a reunion with her very relieved boyfriend. Natalia Martinez was rescued late last night after a harrowing 3 days on Yukon's Mount Logan. She was climbing solo on Monday when 2 earthquakes hit. It wasn't safe for her to keep climbing or to go back down, and then bad weather hit, and she was forced to stay in her tent 3,900 meters up on the eastern ridge of the mountain. Her support team says they wouldn't be surprised if Martinez, who's from Argentina, tries the same climb again in the future.
Well, she had a simple mission: to make the world kinder. New Brunswick teen Becca Schofield is only 17 years old and fighting cancer. Her campaign, Becca Told Me To, has inspired acts of kindness around the world. Now she's being honored by the province with her own day. It's proposed that Becca Schofield Day will be the 3rd Saturday in September.
A Toronto restaurant is cooking up some food for thought, asking the question, when you go out to eat, would you choose to pay a little bit extra if you knew the money was going toward the staff's benefit plan? Well, the restaurant is asking customers to pay a voluntary 3% charge to fund an employee health plan. It adds less than 50 cents to the average bill. The restaurant owners say the optional fee is a transparent and accountable way to pay for the benefits.
Well, NASA has released some spectacular new images. Video taken by the Cassini spacecraft on its descent into Saturn's rings at the end of April. The incredible views of a vortex at the North Pole, the mini-storms, and the jet stream.
All the same, scientists say they were conservative with the camera settings this time around, and future trips will yield even better views. Welcome back once again. A surfer who spent 32 hours at sea off the Scottish coast is talking about his incredible survival in the water. 22-year-old Matthew Bryce says he almost lost hope until a rescue helicopter spotted him, and here's how he described that moment.
And when I saw them turn, it was just... it was indescribable.
Bryce said nighttime was the worst as he floated on his surfboard. At one point, he watched fishing boats sail off as he tried to call them for a rescue. An absolutely harrowing experience.
Well, this next story should probably put a smile on your face. Check this out, a heartwarming moment when a little girl with something new to show off arrives in the playground. Well, that's 7-year-old Anu from Birmingham, England, and she had her right leg amputated shortly after birth. But when she wore her new prosthetic blade to school a little while back, her classmates, well, they got a little bit excited about it too. And as you can see, they were overjoyed, running around with her. And this video of their reaction has gone viral. Anu's blade is courtesy of a program that gave 500 kids running blades so they can have better mobility. Oh, isn't that...
Now, if that doesn't warm your heart, it's made of stone for sure. Nice stuff there. Have a look, a quick weekend weather tee-up and wrap up as we take a look. We are looking at, again, some single digits here in the east, but work your way inland and you'll find, or onto the side of the house with no wind, you'll find some warmer temperatures. Again, double digits to teens in central. I'm watching those showers move into the west. And how about this picture? That is on the Trans-Labrador Highway near Red Bay. And what do you think that'll be melted by the time the snow starts falling again?
Oh,
Unreal.
my.
Yeah.
I'm not going to complain anymore.
Just a bit of snow. Thanks to Jessica Keating for sending that one along.
There you go, from some cold ice to some warm greetings for birthdays and anniversaries. Let's take a look at who's celebrating this week.
Happy 50th anniversary to Kevin and Gail Ryan, formerly from St. John's, now living in Port Dover, Ontario, who are celebrating tomorrow. Happy 56th anniversary to Bob and Dorothy Yetman from Southern Bay. It's a golden wedding anniversary for John and Kay Pilgrim of St. Anthony Bight. That is 50 years together. Wishing Betty and Steve Budd of St. John's very happy 60th wedding anniversary. Utley and Maggie Brake from Meadows are celebrating their 58th anniversary. They're currently living in Corner Brook.
Happy 67th wedding anniversary to Tom and Phyllis Cutler from Centerville. Happy birthday to Donald Jewer of Botwood, now living in Gander, who turned 93. Happy 91st birthday to John Hilliard of Cape Anguille. Harry Wareham of Gander celebrated his 91st birthday on May 8th, and he's still an avid golfer, as you can see there. Happy birthday to Neil Austin of Springdale, celebrating 91 years this week.
Happy birthday to Ethel Hines on her 97th birthday this Sunday. Happy birthday to Betty Freak, who is 90 tomorrow. She lives in Grand Falls, Windsor. Happy 90th birthday to Gertie Gray of Shoe Cove. Happy 91st birthday to Mary Rowlands, who turned 91, and husband Peter Rowlands, who's turning 91 tomorrow. They're both living in their own home. Cecil Alley of St. David's is celebrating his 93rd birthday today.
Wishing Bride and Randy Bryant of Corner Brook a very happy 55th anniversary. Anniversary greetings going out to Reg and Shirley Thompson, who are celebrating their 62nd wedding anniversary. They're originally from Port Leamington, and they now reside in Acton, Ontario. Happy 52nd wedding anniversary greetings going out to Walter and Annie O'Coin from Codroy Valley. And congratulations to Philip and Josephine Woodford of Holyrood, who are celebrating their 57th wedding anniversary.